Jama'at Khanah by Allama Nasir al-Din Nasir Hunzai, Research Associate, University of Montreal. Translated from Urdu into English by Fakir Muhammad Hunzai, Rashida Noor Muhammad Hunzai. Edited by Aziz Punja. Layout, printing, Zahir Lalani. Published by Khanah-i Hikmat, Idara-e Arif. Dedication. The author Allama Nasir al-Din Nasir Hunzai has graciously agreed that this book be dedicated to my late mother, Mrs. Sakina Suleiman Noor Muhammad of Mombasa, Kenya. On page 6 of this book is a Quranic reference to Sakina. My mother was indeed a mu'minah who brought peace to her family and countless others through her struggle and sacrifices. She laid the foundation for me to grow to appreciate the significance of spiritual motherhood. May her soul rest in eternal Sakina. The subject matter of this book brings back many memories of my childhood, the early part of which was spent in Bukoba, Tanzania, when my father, Suleiman Noor Muhammad Saw, was alive. Bukoba is famous for a Jama'at Khanah with a clock tower, which was once visited by Namdar Prince Salman Ali Khan. In Mombasa, Kenya, where we moved after my father's death, I remember my mother telling me how her father, Jan Muhammad Hashim Virji, used to stand in the shade of an umbrella in the hot sun to supervise the building of the beautiful Jama'at Khanah in the old town overlooking the old harbour of Mombasa. My brother, Shamsuddin Suleiman Noor Muhammad, was the Mukhi of this Jama'at Khanah in 1981 when Maulana Hazir Imam visited it. Rashida Noor Muhammad Hunzai. Author's Note. Service of the Pen for Jama'at Khanah. I consider Rashida Noor Muhammad Hunzai, Samsam, among the earthly angels. She was inspired to render an important service to Jama'at Khanah through the power of the pen, and the present book is the result of that inspiration. Allama Nasir al-Din Nasir Hunzai. Preface. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful. God, the Blessed and Exalted, says, Allah is the light of the heavens and the earth, of the personal world. His light is as a niche in which is a lamp, and the lamp is in a glass. The glass is so transparent as though it were a glittering star, like a pearl. It is lit from the oil of a blessed tree, an olive neither of east nor of the west, the oil of which is so capable that it would well nigh give light, though no fire touched it. It is not one light, but light upon light. Allah guides to His light whom He pleases, and Allah strikes parables for men, and Allah all things does know. And that lamp is lit in houses which Allah has permitted to be exalted, and His name to be remembered therein, where His tasbih is recited in the mornings and in the evenings. Surah 24, Ayat 35 to Ayat 36. There is no doubt that the external world in its subtle form is contained in the personal world, and God is the light of the heavens and the earth of this world, because it is in this world where there is togetherness of body and soul, and it is the secrets of the realities and recognitions of this world which require light to be shed on them, whereas the material heavens and earth, the minerals, vegetables, and animals do not have the capacity to receive the rays of the light of faith, the light of knowledge, the light of love, the light of didar, vision, and the light of recognition. Further, it is evident that the light of the rational soul and particular intellect from the world of divine lights, Lahut, is granted only to man as an innate capacity. Now let us reflect upon the magnificent definition and explanation of the sacred verse according to the teachings of the holy Ahl Bayt, in the wisdom-filled prayer which Imam Ja'far as-Sadiq alayhi used to recite after every morning prayer, Salatul Fajr. Allahumma ij'al li nuran fi qalbi wa nuran fi sam'i wa nuran fi basari wa nuran fi lisani wa nuran fi sha'ri wa nuran fi bashari wa nuran fi lahmi wa nuran fi dami wa nuran fi izami ونورا في أسبي ونورا من بين يدي ونورا من خلفي ونورا عن يميني ونورا عن يساري ونورا من فوقي ونورا من تحتي. O Allah, make for me a light in my heart, a light in my ear, a light in my eye, a light in my tongue, a light in my hair, a light in my skin, a light in my flesh, a light in my blood, a light in my sinews, a light from in front of me, a light from my back, a light from my right side, a light from my left side, a light from above me, and a light from beneath me. In these supplicatory words, first is sought the light of faith and love for the heart, because faith has precedence over everything and is the compendium of many virtues. For the protection and progress of faith, it is essential to have the heat of the divine love in the heart, and this is possible only through the light of prophethood and the light of imamat. Next is sought a light for the ear. It is obvious that the light which is necessary for the ear is in the form of the voice of knowledge and recognition, and this is possible physically through the imam, hujjat, and da'i, and spiritually through jad, fat, and khayal. And the light for the eye means that as every external and internal sense needs light, both the external eye and the internal eye need light to observe and study the wonders and marvels of the divine secrets. And the light in the tongue means that until the light manifests on the tongue, it can do neither the open zikr nor the hidden zikr. And even if the zikr ibadat is done with great hardship, it does not give any pleasure. Similarly, light is required in all the other cases. In this blessed prayer, the word light is mentioned 16 times. This shows that there are 16 worlds of the spiritual wonders and marvels and realities and recognitions in the personal world, for which 16 kinds of lights are needed to illumine them. For instance, the world of hair is based on the human skin, but its inner wisdoms can be known only when hair is observed with the microscope of divine light, in order to see the miracles of the vegetative soul in them, and to see the manifestations within every particle of soul. One of the illusions of light from all 6 sides is that in the personal world, the lights of 6 Natik enter from 6 sides. For details, see Pir Nasiri Khusrao's Wajhi-Din, Chapter 8. In this explanation, there is the definition of light as well as its exegesis. If the ta'wil of the lamp verse is Hudud-i-Din, then their spiritual and intellectual forms are encompassed in the Imam Mubin. In this magnificent and wisdom-filled example, there is also an allusion to the unveiling of the secret of the non-spatial world, in the sense that the blessed olive tree whose oil gives light is neither of the east nor of the west. That is, it is not in the spatial world, but is in the non-spatial world. The Arifs observe the unveiling of this great secret when God enfolds and annihilates the universe in the non-spatial state, so that they know the extremely great secrets of the non-spatial world, as mentioned in verse Surah 69, Ayat 17. And the angels shall be on the sides of the heaven, i.e., the boundary of the universe, and above them 8 shall bear on that day your Lord's throne. The secrets of the world of religion in their entirety are hidden in the personal world. Thus by the throne is meant the absolute light, and every Imam in his own time alone is the bearer of the throne, because in his blessed forehead the light of intellect works by the name of the supreme throne. When the cycle of the 7 Imams becomes complete, a great resurrection takes place secretly. Then the 8th angel of the collection of the souls of male and female mu'mins, Majmu'ayi Arwahi Mu'minin o Mu'minat, is also included among them. The manifestation of the light in his forehead is mentioned in the verses Surah 57, Ayats 12, Ayat 19, Ayat 28, and Surah 66, Ayat 8. In short, the mamsul, or the symbolized of the symbol of the tree of olive in the non-spatial world, is the universal soul. The same one light in the similitude of the lamp has continued to burn in the inner house of the prophets and the Imams, because each one of them in his time was the living house of God. And according to this unchangeable divine law, the present and living Imam is the sacred house of God, which he has commanded to be revered. And what a great mercy it is that the holy Jama'at Khanah represents God's house, and it is extremely blessed for the Ismaili Jama'at, for in it are hidden the great miracles of spirit and spirituality. It is a fact that we believe that every true Imam is like Mawla Ali alayhi salam himself. Thus, whatever is mentioned in the Quran, the Hadith, and the Khutbatul Bayan is not only about Imam Ali alayhi salam, but also about every Imam. The living and present Imam is therefore the mazhar of the divine miracles. Thus those fortunate enough to see have witnessed that for mu'mins, both male and female, the miracle of the light of Imamat starts from the Jama'at Khanah, and then encompasses the entire universe. That is, the inner miracles of this light are countless. One of the great miracles of Mawla is that his sacred light is in every Jama'at Khanah in the form of his ibda'i or luminous body, as the exalted Imam in the previous Jama'ah, attire, has said several times, And as the wise Quran, in the language of wisdom, says that the light is there to walk not only in the world, but in the entire universe. Yamshi bihi, Surah 6, Ayat 122. Tamshuna bihi, Surah 57, Ayat 28. The Supreme Throne is the Imam, because he is the bearer of the light of the throne. The prosperous house, Baytul Ma'mur, is the Imam, because he is the prosperous house of God. Baytullah is the Imam, because he is the Qibla of Haqiqat. The sacred mosque is the Imam, because Masjid means the place of prostration, and in the personal world of the Imam, souls and angels prostrate to God. And the Jama'at Khanah is the Imam, because he is the soul of this house, and the beloved of the Jama'at. Since Islam is the religion of nature, it is also the universal religion. This means that with respect to knowledge and good deeds, there is room in it for many stages. The best example of it is the Sirati Mustaqim, the straight path, which has many minor stages, but the major and well-known stages are Shariat, Tariqat, Haqiqat, and Ma'rifat. This can be seen in the wise Quran in the following verses. O the people of different religions! For every one of you we appointed a Shari'at, Shir'ah, and a Tariqat, Minhaj, Surah 5, Ayat 48. Similarly, wherever in the Quran the word Haqq is mentioned, there the Haqiqat is mentioned, as in the verse Surah 7, Ayat 105. Hazrat Musa said, I recognize the truth, so I should not say anything about Allah except the truth. Similarly, there are words mentioned in the Quran related to Ma'rifat, such as فَتَعْرِفُونَهَا, Surah 27, Ayat 93. يَعْرِفُونَ, Surah 2, Ayat 246. Surah 6, Ayat 20, Surah 7, Ayat 46, Surah 16, Ayat 83. يَعْرِفُونَهُمْ, Surah 7, Ayat 48. Arfaha, Surah 47, Ayat 6. This shows that in Islam, in addition to Shari'at and Tariqat, Haqiqat and Ma'rifat are also necessary. Thus, according to this divine system, after Masjid and Khaniqah, it was also necessary to start the establishment of the Jama'at Khanah and its practices, for although the prophetic wahi or divine inspiration ceased at the demise of the Holy Prophet, the fruits and results of the wise Quran and the prophetic teachings had to appear gradually. Countless thanks are due to God that a booklet related to such a sacred place as Jama'at Khanah has been prepared, the greater part of the contents of which already existed in my other books. The suggestion of such a booklet was made last year, 1992, during my visit to America at the residence of my esteemed friend Akbar A. Ali Bhai, Chief Advisor, and as a result of a question by his angelic wife, Shamsa Akbar A. Ali Bhai, Record Officer. What a great good has been generated by this question. I am indebted and grateful to all my Azizan. The institutions of the exalted Imam all over the world, particularly those related to religious education, are very sacred, and therefore we want to practically sacrifice ourselves for them. This useful sacrifice can be in the form of service to knowledge, so that the Jama'at may benefit from this service. I am sure that all Azizan agree with me in this matter. Those who translate my books, those who work the computers, those who edit, and those who render other services related to these books in an honorary capacity, want to resurrect me in the personal world of every individual who is interested in my books and benefits from them. Because in the next world there will be not only the collective paradise, but also the paradise of the personal world, in which every person and every bounty is available according to one's desire. When the Holy Prophet has given the supreme teaching of Al-Khalqu Iyalullah, people are like the household of God, then with utmost humility we should pray, O Lord of the world, cool the hell of ignorance with the special light of knowledge, and bestow the everlasting bounties of paradise on all the children of Adam and the world of humanity. O Allah, your mercy has excelled your anger, therefore it is not impossible that you may forgive all people. Ameen. Nasir al-Din Nasir Hunzai, London, 31st August 1993. Part 1. House of God, House of Jama'at. Khanah-i Khuda, Khanah-i Jama'at. Islam in its spirit is a perfect and complete religion, and it abounds in rectitude, guidance, knowledge, and wisdom. Every word and deed and everything of it is enriched with intellectual and spiritual beauties, and is full of allusions of certitude and recognition, ma'rifat, both exoterically and esoterically. Thus today we would like to discuss the subject House of God, House of Jama'at, and would like to know whether God really needs a house or whether it is the people of faith who need it. The answer is that God, who is the creator of the universe, is free from and above space and non-space. Therefore, it is needed by the people of faith. In the latter case, other questions arise. If the house of God is to fulfill the needs of the people of faith, what benefits do they attain from it, and what are the secrets hidden in assigning a house in the name of God? The detailed answer to this question is 1. With respect to place and direction, or place and time, the concept of God is based on 3 levels. Firstly, God dwells in a particular house, as is the concept of the house of God, mentioned in the verse Surah 22, Ayat 26. Secondly, He is everywhere, as mentioned in verse Surah 2, Ayat 115. And thirdly, He is free from and above space and non-space, because He is Subhan, free from attributes, Quddus, holy, and Samad, i.e., He Himself is independent, and everything depends on Him. It is an irrefutable fact that Islamic teaching and guidance is in a gradual form, and therefore it becomes incumbent upon every Muslim to first firmly believe in the house of God and attach himself to it, so that he may recognize from here the oneness of God. If someone does not understand the wisdom of this fundamental concept and ignores it, he cannot attain the treasures of the second and third concepts. For to go against the divine law leads to failure. 2. The way Islam presents the concept of the Supreme Throne is also the center of all the wisdoms of the true religion. For it establishes not only the eminence and grandeur of the house of God, but also the eminence of those mu'mins who are engaged in work for the prosperity and progress of the house of God on earth. They are like the pure angels of the higher world who are attached to or circumambulate the divine throne. This explanation establishes the fact that just as human beings benefit from the closeness and recognition of the house of God, the angels attain eminence from the closeness and recognition of the Supreme Throne. But God Himself, may He be hallowed and blessed, is free from and above everything. 3. God existed when the Kaaba, the house of God, did not exist, and it was constructed when the time came for the descent of Hazrat Adam to the earth. Thus, by the command of God, the angels constructed the house of God, so that Hazrat Adam and his children could have recourse to it to attain spiritual benefit. This shows that the origin and foundation of religion is the house of God, and that the same house of God is the house of religion, and house of Jama'at also, which in Urdu is expressed as Jama'at Khanah. To say house of God means that there is always the manifestation of His lights and secrets and the revelation of His favors and blessings, so that the mu'mins may go to His house in order to attain them and progress in knowledge and good deeds every day. 4. The Kaaba, in which are hidden great ta'wilic secrets, is in its own place extremely important, so that the Muslims of the world, by understanding its exoteric and esoteric wisdoms, do not lose the wealth of mutual unity and stay united like the Muslims of the time of prophethood were united. Simultaneously, it was also important to build a local house of God in every Muslim village, for it was not possible for all the Muslims of far-flung countries to reach the Kaaba for daily worship. Thus the Holy Prophet built a local house of God called a masjid, mosque. It was an enclosure which had doors on 3 sides. The basic plan of all those mosques which were built after the Holy Prophet remains the same. Gradually, the construction of mosques turned into an art, and thus a specific style of architecture developed. Urdu Encyclopedia, Feroz Sons. 5. The Qibla of Islam has many names, such as Kaaba, which literally means a square building, Surah 5, Ayat 95. Al-Bayt, the house, Surah 2, Ayat 125. Al-Bayt al-Atiq, the ancient house, Surah 22, Ayat 29. Bayti, my house, i.e., the house of God, or Baytullah, Surah 2, Ayat 125. Baytin wuzi'a linnas, a house assigned for mankind, Surah 3, Ayat 96. Al-Bayt al-Haram, the sacred house, Surah 5, Ayat 97. Al-Masjid al-Haram, the sacred mosque, Surah 2, Ayat 144, etc. From the above-mentioned names of the house of God, it is justified without any ambiguity that just as it is correct to call the place of worship of Muslims a masjid. Similarly, it is also correct to call it Jama'at Khanah, i.e., the religious house of the Jama'at or community, because the house of God is the religious house of the people, for it is built for the people. Surah 3, Ayat 96. In the light of historical research, if we look at the time of prophethood, the shape of the masjid and the Jama'at Khanah appear to be enclosures of the same kind. Thus, according to me, the Holy Prophet's masjid, which represented the central house of God, that is, the Kaaba, was the local house of God, and the Jama'at Khanah of the present and of the future. 6. Masjid means the place of sijda, prostration, and the house of worship. It also means worship, ibadat, the ta'wil of which is the supreme name, Ismi Azam, Asas, and the Imam of the time. For the true supreme name of God and his living and intellectual house can only be the Imam of the time, as it is mentioned in Da'aimul Islam, in Kitabul Hajj, Volume 1, page 292. The angels built the house of God. This means that the angels built the house of God spiritually in the personal world of the perfect man, for the real work of angels is spiritual. If it is accepted that they built the Kaaba, then the ta'wilic wisdom of this is that the mu'mins, who are physical angels, built a Jama'at Khanah in the physical world. And according to the law of the better the work, the greater the reward, they were made to build with their hands a spiritual Kaaba in spirituality. Sakina, Surah 48, Ayat 26. 7. Hazrat Ibrahim alayhi salam rebuilt the house of God on the site before the deluge of Hazrat Nuh alayhi salam. This place was indicated by a wind which God had sent to give peace to Hazrat Ibrahim alayhi salam, and it was called Sakina, giver of peace. This wind had two ends which followed one another. The ta'wil of this wind is the remembrance of God and its spirituality. This reveals the reality that in the background of the physical house of God is mentioned his luminous house. Because every zahir, exoteric aspect, has a batin, esoteric aspect. And as God says, "And he completed his favors on you, both in zahir and in batin." Surah 31, Ayat 20. 8. God says, "And when we made the house a place of reward and peace for mankind, saying, Take as the place of prayer where Ibrahim stood." Surah 2, Ayat 125. The first ta'wil of this verse is that just as by his command the Kaaba, the house of God, is the place of reward and peace externally, so internally the Imam of the time as the house of God is the means of every kind of reward and peace. This means that the Imam is the spiritual Qibla, towards whom the attention of the heart is necessary in every good deed, and that this is the way of attaining reward. You can see that the reward is mentioned first, and then comes peace. The wisdom in this is that the mu'mins cross the stages of reward and good first by obeying the holy Imam, and then, as a result, they enter into the light of his spirituality. And it is he who is God's inner house, in which there is only peace and no fear or danger of any kind. Just as in the external world, the station of Ibrahim is in a place where there is a stone, similarly, in the internal world, in the luminosity of the manifest Imam, there is a pearl of intellect, which we have been commanded to reach, to attain the wisdoms of Salat or Namaz. The second ta'wil is that, just as the Kaaba is the central house of God, similarly, Jama'at Khanah is the local house of God. Or in other words, just as the Kaaba is the house of God at the level of Shariat, the Jama'at Khanah is the house of God at the level of Haqiqat. Therefore, the virtues which are mentioned in the Quranic verse about the Kaaba, the central house of God, are also true about this local house of God, which is called Jama'at Khanah. Thus, according to Quranic wisdom and the Ismaili faith, Jama'at Khanah is the place of reward and peace. This means that the entire reward of all religious commands and prohibitions is centered on the Jama'at Khanah, and this is also true for spiritual peace and satisfaction. Because this religious house of the Jama'at has double virtues. On the one hand, it is the representative of the Kaaba, and on the other hand, it is the symbol of the true Imam, because the Imam, in accordance with divine will, has given the Jama'at Khanah to his followers to represent his own personality and physical and spiritual closeness. Thus, at the first stage, this is the station or place of Ibrahim for the Jama'at. 9. In verse Surah 3, Ayat 96, God says, "Verily the first house set up for mankind is at Makkah, blessed and a guidance for the entire people of the world." In this blessed verse, there are many wisdom-filled allusions. One of them is that first is the foundation of the ordinals, and it necessitates that it be followed by the second, third, fourth, fifth, etc. This implies that although the first and the central religious house is in Makkah, there will be many secondary and local religious houses, Jama'at Khanahs, in the time of prophethood and the cycle of Imamat. The second allusion is that, just as the first religious house was set up in Makkah, the first Imam, Mawla Ali alayhi salam, was also appointed in Makkah. He is the spiritual and luminous house for people, and in which there are blessings and guidance for those who actually become personal worlds. The third allusion is that one of the meanings of the suggestive recitation of Bakka is Giriyauzari, weeping and shedding tears. So its ta'wilic implication is that the first house of spirituality is built for people from the shining tears of the love of Mawla, which for the lovers of Mawla is full of blessings and guidance. The fourth allusion is that the Kaaba, the Imam and the Jama'at Khanah are the house of God, on the one hand, and on the other hand, they are also the religious houses of the people, because the blessings and guidance which are in these houses are for the sake of the people, and their attribution to God is due to their being His special possessions. 10. It is said in verse Surah 24, Ayat 36, "That light is lit in houses which God has permitted to be exalted, and His name to be remembered therein. He is hallowed therein in the morning and in the evening." By these houses are meant the holy Imams and also the Jama'at Khanahs, in which is lit the lamp of the divine light, whose observation and recognition is certain. 11. The Kaaba is the exoteric sign, symbol, and pattern of those verses whose ta'wilic wisdom is linked to the living house of God, the Imam. The recognition of the Imam, which is extremely vital, cannot be attained by anyone without obedience to him, and the center of obedience is the Jama'at Khanah, because it is the place of reward and peace. Just as everything has a soul, so the Jama'at Khanah too has a great soul, and this is the soul or the light of the Imam of the time, in which the soul of the Jama'at revives. If you believe that there is the light of the true Imam in the Jama'at Khanah, then you should know that this same light is the living house of God. For as the Quran says, "There is indeed a good pattern of word and deed for you in Ibrahim and those with him." Surah 60, Ayat 4. From this divine teaching is revealed that although externally there were many people with Hazrat Ibrahim alayhis salam, it was those who were with him internally who had reached the ultimate degree in obeying him. Otherwise, their good pattern would not have joined with the good pattern of Hazrat Ibrahim alayhis salam. The question then is, who were or are these people? They are the progeny of Hazrat Ibrahim alayhis salam, i.e., the prophets and imams, whose manifestation in his view was extremely necessary. Surah 2, Ayat 124. And God had given everything to them, the progeny of Hazrat Ibrahim alayhis salam. Surah 4, Ayat 54. Thus the Holy Prophet, following Hazrat Ibrahim alayhis salam, not only made the Kaaba the Qibla, but also built a masjid as the local house of God, and the holy Imams in their respective times have also built such houses of God called masjid or Jama'at Khanah. 12. It is said in verse Surah 28, Ayat 57, "Have we not established for them a secure sanctuary, whereunto the fruits of all things are brought, a provision from our presence, but most of them know not." If you reflect upon the phrase, the fruits of all things, they do not come automatically anywhere in the world, but it is true that the place which the Prophet and Imam assign for worship, the spiritual fruits of all things come there automatically, and these spiritual miracles are related to the Jama'at Khanah. When the wise Quran said, "the fruits of all things," then according to this divine law, all things, including minerals, vegetables, animals, and human beings, all are considered to be trees, so that the fruit of each of them may reach the house of God. But this is only possible spiritually. Thus, the Jama'at Khanah is the place where the magnificent soul, i.e., light of the Imam of the time, works, to which the souls of all things come, for in the Imam-i-Mubin, manifest and speaking Imam, all the things of the universe are encompassed. Surah 36, Ayat 12. These bright proofs about the eminence and blessings of Jama'at Khanah are enough for true mu'mins. Nasir al-Din Nasir Hunzai, 10th December 1984. Part 2. 1. It has been established that the house of God is the house of the Jama'at, and it has also been established that just as the Kaaba is the central house of religion, so the Jama'at Khanah is the local house of religion. And this system is in accordance with the divine law, Sunnat, and the law of nature, according to which he makes the place of blessings and mercies closer to his servants, both externally and internally. Just as when Hazrat Adam alayhi salam descended to this world, the Kaaba was built on the earth for his and his children's sake, and it has the status of the supreme throne here, for what the divine throne signifies is also signified by his house. After the Hijrah, migration, the Holy Prophet built another house of God in Medina, which we can call the first masjid, as well as the first Jama'at Khanah, because originally they both had the same shape and reality. In any case, it represented the ancient house of God. This means that the Kaaba represents the supreme throne, and the Jama'at Khanah represents the holy Kaaba. 2. You should be aware of the fact that in Islam, taqwa, piety, God-fearing, is extremely important, because it is the spirit of all worship, ibadat. In order to attain taqwa, one has to struggle a lot, but note the compassionate nature of the signs of God, sha'airillah, and that by respecting and revering them, one attains the piety of the heart. Surah 22, Ayat 32. The pure personality of the Imam of the time, who is the speaking Quran, and the Jama'at Khanah are among the signs of God, and therefore reverence for them results in the piety of heart, and is also itself piety. For one of them is the hidden or spiritual house of God, and the other is his apparent or physical house. 3. The ta'wilic implication of verse Surah 22, Ayat 26, is that God appointed Hazrat Ibrahim alayhi salam as his house, so that the recognition of Tawheed may be attained in the spirituality and luminosity of this rank, and nothing is associated with him. God has also commanded this living house of his, i.e. Hazrat Ibrahim himself, to be purified ideologically, spiritually, and intellectually, so that 3 kinds of angels may come there, and they are those who circumambulate, those who do qiyam or ittikaf, and those who bow and prostrate. 4. The divine law is that the spiritual masjid and luminous Jama'at Khanah has continued to be forever in the pure personality of the Prophet and Imam. Hazrat Nuh has called this luminous house, my house, Bayti, Surah 71, Ayat 28. And the mu'mins who entered it were called the people of the house, Ahle Bayt. For as the Quran says, O my Lord, forgive me, my parents, and those who enter my spiritual house as perfect believers, and the believing men and believing women. Surah 71, Ayat 28. In this wisdom-filled prayer of Hazrat Nuh alayhi salam, the mu'mins are in 2 categories: those who had entered his luminous house, i.e. the house of God, due to their perfect faith, and those who have still not been able to enter it. 5. In his time, the Holy Prophet was God's living house, Surah 22, Ayat 26, and the luminous and miraculous Jama'at Khanah, for as it is said in verse Surah 33, Ayat 33, Verily, God intends but to keep away from you every kind of uncleanness, O you people of the luminous house, and to purify you in every respect, externally and internally. This holy house was the light of prophethood and imamat, and the people of the house were the Holy Five Persons, namely Hazrat Muhammad Mustafa, Hazrat Ali Murtaza, Hazrat Fatima Zahra, Hazrat Hassani Mujtaba, and Hazrat Hussaini Sayyidi Shuhada, alayhimus salam. This luminous house is the speaking house of God and the intellectual and spiritual Jama'at Khanah, and it is the house of wisdom about which the Holy Prophet has said, I am the house of wisdom, and Ali is its door. It is also the same blessed and holy house in which, according to verse Surah 24, Ayat 36, the lamp of the divine light is lit. 6. In order to present this reality in an understandable way, it is asked, to whom does the straight path belong? Does it belong to God or to the prophets? Does it belong to the Holy Prophet or the Imam? Does it not belong to the mu'mins? The answer is that first of all, it belongs to God, for He is the goal of it. That is, all have to go to His luminous house. Surah 42, Ayat 53, Surah 2, Ayat 156. It is also the path of all the prophets, because they were the guides of the people on it. Surah 1, Ayat 7, Surah 4, Ayat 68. It is the path of the Holy Prophet, the last messenger, because he is the chief of the prophets and messengers. Surah 12, Ayat 108. It is the path of the Imam, because he is the true guide. Surah 13, Ayat 7. And it is also true that the straight path is made for the guidance of the mu'mins. Surah 4, Ayat 115. Thus, the extremely pure and sacred house, which belongs to God, also belongs to all the above-mentioned ranks. Although God Himself is free from and above space and non-space, the recognition of His oneness is not possible outside His luminous house. Surah 24, Ayat 35. This house, which is full of mercies and blessings and illumined with the light of recognition, is the light of the prophets and imams. Surah 24, Ayat 36. And this same house also belongs to mu'min men and mu'min women when they follow them completely. Surah 57, Ayat 12, Surah 66, Ayat 8. 7. It is the law of creation that everything is initially created in a fixed mold, and that without it, its existence is not possible. The fruit of trees cannot be created without skin, nor the kernel without stone, just as human existence and shape is not possible without the womb of its mother. On the other hand, there are things which do not have a specific shape and form, because they are scattered without a matrix, like for example, the four elements, namely, earth, fire, water and air. Thus the Holy Prophet and Ulul Amr, by the command of God, built a local house of God, so that every follower, after being cast in this mold, may be called a true mu'min, and a special form of faith and spirit may be created of him. 8. According to the law of universal mercy, when it is possible that a pattern of the Supreme Throne in the form of the Kaaba be brought down to earth, and in the time of the deluge to be carried to the fourth heaven, and in the time of Hazrat Ibrahim alayhi salam was reconstructed, and in the time of the Holy Prophet a local house of God was built, then it is also possible that the Jama'at Khanah truly represents God's external house, the Holy Kaaba and the Imam of the time, who is the internal house. This is true, and there is no doubt about this. 9. Jama'at Khanahs are of three kinds. First is the universal Jama'at Khanah, which is the blessed personality of the Imam of the time. Second is the local Jama'at Khanah, which is the Jama'at Khanah of the city, town, village or area. And the third is the personal Jama'at Khanah, which is the heart of every faithful servant. But their interrelated wisdom is in the local Jama'at Khanah, because it is here that a mu'min gradually progresses. The door of the personal Jama'at Khanah, or the Jama'at Khanah of the heart, opens for him, and he is illumined with the light of faith, Nuri Iman. And it is here that the holy Didar, or vision of the pure Imam, takes place, which is the true Jama'at Khanah of luminosity. 10. In verse Surah 10, Ayat 87, God says, "And we revealed to Musa and his brother, provide houses for your people in Misr, and make your houses places of worship, and establish prayer, and give glad tidings to the mu'mins." Misr is the name of every city which has a protective wall around it, and by this is meant the city of spirituality, because not only does it have a protective wall around it, but also a door. Thus, in this wisdom-filled verse, the spiritual progress of the personal Jama'at Khanahs is mentioned. That is, God commanded the Prophet and Imam to make houses in the city of spirituality for the hudud-i-din, religious hierarchy, of their community, and to give the status of the house of God to these houses and do the work of true mission, da'wati haqq, and give to mu'mins the practical glad tidings of such spiritual progress and ascension. 11. In verse Surah 9, Ayat 18, God says, "Only those who believe in God and the last day, and establish prayer, salat, and give zakat, and fear no one but God, are able to make masajid of God prosperous. So these are they who are among the rightly guided ones." Hereby, masajid of God are meant the Jama'at Khanahs, or masajid of the entire world. How is it possible for a single person to participate in the prosperity of all of them? It is obvious that it is impossible physically, and hence it necessitates a ta'wilic wisdom, which is that masajid, namely the Jama'at Khanahs of God, are in three levels, as has already been mentioned in paragraph number 9. And these are the universal Jama'at Khanah, i.e. the Imam of the time, the local Jama'at Khanah, and the personal Jama'at Khanah, or the Jama'at Khanah of the heart. And all these three Jama'at Khanahs can be made prosperous by the attendance of he who believes in God and the last day and establishes salat, i.e., he accomplishes the work of da'wat, and gives the physical and spiritual zakat. When the faithful servant goes to his local Jama'at Khanah with devotion and love and worships God in it, then by this wisdom-filled act is made prosperous not only the local Jama'at Khanah, but also the personal Jama'at Khanah and the universal Jama'at Khanah. They are united and interrelated because the mu'min is attached to the Jama'at Khanah, and the Imam of the time is the spirit of the Jama'at Khanah. And it is also a fact that in the case of the mu'min who firmly believes in Jama'at Khanah, a special particle of the particles of his soul always serves the blessed and holy personality of the true Imam. you should research the reality of the soul and study the articles related to the particles of the soul, so that you understand how soul is simple, basit, and is everywhere. 12. It is said, the heart of the mu'min is the throne of God. However, it is necessary to ask and know what the real meaning of this saying is, because the word mu'min is applicable to many people, but the concept of the divine throne is very high. You should understand that the heart of the mu'min is the Imam of the time, and it is this holy personality in which the divine light shines. For as the wise Quran says, and know that Allah comes in between the man and his heart. Surah 8, Ayat 24. That is, in the light of true knowledge, you should know the law of trial. Why does God come between man and his heart, i.e. the Imam of the time? Indeed, the wisdom-filled allusion and the secret of success in this is that one should have recourse to God with his true heart. He should return to him and further go where his heart is. This shows that in reality, the Jama'at Khanah of the heart is also the Imam of the time. And I have no success except by God. Surah 11, Ayat 88. Nasir al-Din Nasir Hunzai, 20th December 1984. Questions about Jama'at Khanah. Question 1. Buzurgwar Allama Sahib, would you kindly tell us something about Jama'at Khanahs in the northern areas of Pakistan? When and how were they built? Were they built in accordance with a direct firman of the Imam of the time, or was the firman received through a representative of the exalted Imam? Answer 1. The construction of Jama'at Khanahs in the northern areas of our country started about 72 years ago. The firman to do this sacred work was received through a dignitary of religion, Hazrat Aga Abdus Samad Shah, and the Jama'ats acted upon this wisdom-filled firman with utmost devotion and dedication. Question 2. At present, how many Jama'at Khanahs are there altogether? Answer 2. I made a survey of Jama'at Khanahs in 1973 when I was the officer in charge of the Ismailiya Association Gilgit branch, and at that time there were approximately 300 Jama'at Khanahs, including some temporary Jama'at Khanahs for Ismaili soldiers. At present, there are approximately 700 Jama'at Khanahs in the northern areas of Pakistan, including Chitral. Question 3. Have you seen spiritual light? If so, when and where? Inside the Jama'at Khanah or outside it? Answer 3. Alhamdulillah, praise be to Allah. This humble servant has been blessed with this light. This luminous miracle started in the autumn of 1948 in the old Jama'at Khanah of Qaradar, Karachi, and then by stages it increased until the personal resurrection was experienced. Question 4. Can you prove from the Holy Quran that Jama'at Khanah has great significance and sublime status? Answer 4. Yes, inshallah, God willing, I can provide such proof from the Quran. I am an ardent lover of the miracles of the Jama'at Khanah and immersed in the favors of Jama'at Khanah, and directly and indirectly have written quite a lot about its virtues. In short, the first house of God is the Kaaba. The second is the Imam of the time, who is the Ta'wil of the Holy Kaaba. and the third is the Jama'at Khanah, in which the spiritual vision, didar, and the luminous miracles take place. And the fourth is the heart of a believing servant. Therefore, wherever the Kaaba, or the sacred mosque, Al-Masjidul Haram, is mentioned in the Quran, that in ta'wil is the praise of the Imam of the time, and the recognition of the Imam of the time is possible in Jama'at Khanah because his spiritual vision is in the Jama'at Khanah. Question 5. Have you participated in the construction of a Jama'at Khanah? If so, in which area or country? Answer 5. In this connection, I remember with wonder an event in my childhood when I was about 3 or 4 years old. The construction of the central Jama'at Khanah was taking place in my village, Hyderabad, in Hunza, and I was playing with some children when someone said, "Children, come, fill your shirts with sand and bring it here." I carried handfuls of sand with some other small children. At that time, I had a piece of red coral in my hand, which I loved very much. But it occurred to me that it should be sacrificed for the Jama'at Khanah, so I put it in the double wall. Given my age at the time, this was a miracle to me. In later years, I came to love Jama'at Khanah in true sense and tried to take part in their construction whenever possible. This was particularly true for the Jama'at Khanahs of Yarkand in China, the construction of which was vehemently opposed by certain influential members of the Jama'at, and at the same time by some non-Ismaili adversaries who accused me of being a spy. They succeeded in having me imprisoned and put under house arrest many times, but did not succeed in proving that I was a spy, nor did they succeed in having me executed. I was innocent of their accusations, and I loved only constructing Jama'at Khanahs. Question 6. What do the ahadith say about Jama'at Khanahs? Answer 6. Here I shall mention only one hadith, the most comprehensive of the ahadith, which is, "He whose Mawla I am, Ali is his Mawla. O Allah, love those who love him, Ali, and be an enemy of those who are his enemies, and turn the truth with him wherever he turns." According to this hadith of the Prophet, the Ali of the time is the Mawla, i.e., the guardian and master, and God has made the truth turn with him wherever he turns. Thus the Jama'at Khanah, according to the Farman of Imam Mubin, manifest and speaking Imam, is based on the truth. It has many virtues, because it is the ta'wil of the Holy Kaaba. Question 7. Have you experienced any great miracles in the Jama'at Khanah? If so, where and in which Jama'at Khanah? Answer 7. I have seen extremely great spiritual miracles in the blessed Jama'at Khanah of the town of Karangu Dugrak. This blessed town is in Yarkand in China. Everything I have written and said are because of the blessings of these miracles which took place in this Jama'at Khanah in China. Question 8. What rational proof is there of the significance and eminence of Jama'at Khanah? Answer 8. Everything has a heart or center. Similarly, faith and religion also need a center for growth and progress, so that human abilities may develop fully and the rope of Allah is firmly held collectively. Otherwise, there may be differences. Question 9. From which age did you start to go to Jama'at Khanah? Answer 9. By the grace of God, I started to go to Jama'at Khanah from a very young age, for there was an attraction in it for me. When the elderly members of our town were doing ibadat and tasbih in praise of God, and when they were reciting Naat, praise of the Prophet, and Mankabat, praise of the Imams, I felt tremendous happiness. Question 10. Who did you go to Jama'at Khanah with initially? Answer 10. Initially, I started to go to Jama'at Khanah with my revered father. He was an ardent lover of religion and was a Khalifa, equivalent of Mukhi, of his peer. Undoubtedly, I received the religious spirit from him. Question 11. In your area, was there the tradition of Zikr-i-Jali, loud zikr, and Shab Bidari, vigil of the night, prior to the establishment of Jama'at Khanah? Answer 11. Yes, we believe that the religion of Islam, which is the religion of nature, consists of Shariat, Tariqat, Haqiqat, and Ma'rifat, so that everyone can gradually enter the Ma'rifat. In this connection, Zikr-i-Jali is an important element of the Tariqat, and therefore, in the Da'wat of Hakim Pir Nasiri Khusrau, the tradition of Shab Bidari and Zikr-i-Jali was practiced prior to having Jama'at Khanahs. Question 12. In which area or in which Jama'at Khanah have you done Shab Bidari the most? Answer 12. As Ruhani Majlis, spiritual assembly, and Shab Bidari has continued as a religious tradition in the northern areas, so I have participated in Shab Bidari almost everywhere I have been to. The extremely severe trials of Yarkand attached me to the Jama'at Khanah and enriched me with the wealth of Shab Bidari. Then I came to understand how the water of life is hidden in darkness. Question 13. Our revered teacher, how many Jama'at Khanahs have you attended and performed ibadat in? Answer 13. I do not have a precise record, but as a frequent traveler between the East and the West, I have been blessed by being able to visit many Jama'at Khanahs. If we have been done some ibadat of the true worshipped in such places, we should be grateful to him for this favor and refrain from any kind of pride. Question 14. According to your experience, are all Jama'at Khanahs equal in excellence and miracles, or do they have degrees? If they have degrees, what is the reason for this? Answer 14. It is commanded in the Quran that the house of God must be kept pure, so that the miraculous souls may come there. Surah 2, Ayat 125. The ultimate indication of this command is that the people of Jama'at Khanah should purify their hearts through zikr and ibadat, and knowledge and recognition, so that they may have the vision of the Holy Imam in the Jama'at Khanah. On this basis, it is possible for Jama'at Khanahs to have different degrees. Question 15. In your writings, you allude to the miracles of the Jama'at Khanah, so we would like to ask you in which Jama'at Khanah did you see those great miracles? Answer 15. As a matter of personal experience, I have seen extremely great miracles in the Jama'at Khanah of Karangu Tugrak in Yarkand, and also in prisons there. If I were to write about this, it would be a voluminous book. Question 16. Where and when did you receive permission to do the ibadat of Ism-e Azam? Answer 16. In 1946, in Hassanabad, Bombay, Hazrat Maulana Sultan Muhammad Shah Salawatullahi alayhi blessed me with the secret of the secrets of Ismi Azam when he came for the Diamond Jubilee. For approximately half an hour, Mawla blessed the group with precious guidance. In this holy didar, a great resurrection was hidden for me. Question 17. Please tell us whether the Satan can enter Jama'at Khanah or not. If he can, is it a Satan from man or from jinn? Please also tell us how is it possible for the Satan to enter the house of God. Answer 17. Satan can easily enter the Jama'at Khanah if it is not properly guarded, whether he is of human beings or of jinns. The house of God is the straight path of spirituality, and Satan always tries to mislead people from here. See in Quranic verses, Surah 17, Ayat 14 to Ayat 20, how Satan has been given respite and freedom until the resurrection. Question 18. In order to benefit most from Jama'at Khanah, what must one do and what conditions should be fulfilled? Answer 18. The best way to benefit most from Jama'at Khanah is to study all those firmans which are related to the Jama'at Khanah, so that ardent love is created for it. When this holy love has been created, every difficulty becomes easy. For pure love is a light, and in the light there is every kind of guidance, and in such a state, God willing, miracles of the house of God will appear. Question 19. Would you kindly advise us about the sanctity of and reverence for Jama'at Khanah? Answer 19. Inshallah, Jama'at Khanah is the ta'wil of the Kaaba and is among the signs of God, Surah 22, Ayat 32, the reverence of which is the taqwa, piety of the heart, and the one whose heart has piety becomes successful. Question 20. What is the relationship between the Jama'at Khanah and the Kaaba? Answer 20. One is a parable, misal, and the other is the meaning, mamsul. One is tanzil, and the other is the ta'wil. One is zahir, and the other is batin. And thus, there is an heavenly relationship between them. Question 21. How many kinds of Jama'at Khanahs are there in the Ismaili Tariqah, and what are they? Answer 21. There are 3 kinds of Jama'at Khanahs in the Ismaili Tariqah. Personal Jama'at Khanah, which is the heart of a mu'min, local Jama'at Khanah, and universal Jama'at Khanah, and there is unity between all 3 of them. Nasir al-Din Nasir Hunzai, 22nd August 1992. Blessings of prayer in Jama'at Khanah. Divine mercy for a mu'min is always prayer. The purpose of obedience in the Quran is prayer. Prayer is praised with Man ahsanu qawlan. By God, thus the capital of faith is prayer. This is the fruit of success. This is the kernel of worship. The result of the faith of a Muslim is prayer. Bow down in submission, in obedience to Mawla. Know that the fruit of firman for you is prayer. Seek help through prayer in the path of haqiqat. If there is a burning candle on this path, it is prayer. If there is any disease of soul or body, the remedy for every pain and disease is prayer. If you yearn for the manifestation of the divine lights, see your eye of recognition is prayer. The world of heart is illumined with the light of reality. The light-scattering sun of the heart and soul is prayer. If there is pain and torment in the world, it matters not. thousands of thanks for a garden of Rizwan, divine pleasure, is prayer. It is known that the repentance of Adam was prayer, and the cause of Nuh's deluge was prayer. If Nimrod's pyre appears again, and if there is an Ibrahim even now, the garden is prayer. It was prayer which had rescued Yunus. Thus in every cycle, the divine mercy is prayer. It was prayer which made Khizr immortal. The spring of the water of life in this world is prayer. The miracles of the staff and the white hand which Musa received, the main cause of such miracles is prayer. The miracle of the Holy Spirit which was in Isa, its hidden wisdom is prayer. The Holy Prophet secluded himself in the cave of Hira. His aim and the candle of the place of vigil was prayer. Mawlai Kareem is the divine light in this world. The possibility of attaining grace from this light is prayer. If the light of Imamat is like the path of God, on this path also the lamp of certitude is prayer. Myriads of the Beloved's manifestations the lover has seen with his inner eye is prayer. Come here morning and evening and remember him and pray. The protector of ethics and faith is prayer. The path which leads to the destination of oneness, the easiest path to it is prayer. In this poem of Nasir is hidden a treasure of realities. The divine treasure full of pearls is prayer. Who is better in speech than he who prays to God? Surah 41, Ayat 33. 8 April 1973. Jama'at Khanah. Within the dot of oneness of the bar of Bismillah, a reality is hidden of the maxims of the Wali of Allah. Ali is the guide of the path of God and the Prophet. Hold on to his hem to reach the destination eminent. Imam of jinn and mankind and holder of resurrection's banner, the king of both worlds and the sovereign of the exalted court. Munificent to all creatures and generous to both friend and foe, is exalted Ali, the forgiver of sin and fault. By the command of the present and guardian Mawla, a place of worship is established. How pleasant! The true observers of the world of purity make the dust of it their eyes' antimony. Why are you afraid of the roar of sorrow's army? Come to the house of Mushkil Khusha, where there is refuge for you. Come, O Murid of the sovereign of religion, the Imam of the time, seek whatever you want from the court of Imamat. Wash in the tears of repentance, if you are wise, the garment of your dear soul which has become soiled. O beloved, from now only my heart and the path of your love remain. If the heart strays, kindly bring it back to the path. I do not have any obedience in the divine court, except the wazifa of love and prayer with yearning. Remove the veil, O the light of the spiritual eye, so that we may glance at your glorious face. If you want salvation from the pain of the darkness of grief, come to the house of the light of the age, morning and evening. It is the door of this house where indigent Nasir calls. By the exalted Shah's kindness, all his wishes are fulfilled.